Gilded Age, it was well thought out. There was lots of different rooms to it. Obviously, the Blaze Mob, I think, was a really cool addition. It was nice to actually have a reason to go to the Nether beyond just traveling there. It interfaced really nicely with the brewing system. It was really well thought out. And then you get to this, right, at the end. Excuse the pun. The end, right? You get to it. And that is what it is. It's been done in about 3 weeks. It didn't feel very fleshed out. It felt like we got Minecon coming up. We got to do something with it. And it always felt to me like it was the first step towards an end of the game. And obviously, Notch subsequently left development, who was primarily responsible for designing the end. And I think Jeb and others have looked at it since, and they're just like, I don't really know what to do with this, to be honest. I can't get rid of it and rethink the entire concept because it's the end of the game. It's kind of stuck now. It is what it is. And it did its purpose. It fulfilled a condition to meet the end of the game. And it provided us with things like Enderman farms and stuff like that. They tried to revisit it, of course, in 1.9. They added the Outer End Islands, they added the Chorus Plant, and they added the cities. But again, that's just an extension of what the end itself is. You go there for shulkers. That's the entire, and Elytra, that's the entire reason you go there, is for that. It's not something that you happen upon while exploring in the same way in the overworld and the Nether. You could be exploring the Nether to look for a place to build, or because you want to find a specific biome, and I've stumbled upon a bastion, I've stumbled upon a Nether fortress, I'm going to take a look, see what it has. You have to specifically plan to go to the end. Nobody goes to the outer end and is like, I'm looking for a great place to build here. Nobody does that. They go there for that reason, to find that structure, not because they want to live in it or terraform it or do anything with it. They want the resources from it, and that's that. And that's at the core of this problem, is it's not a very interesting place to be. Even down to like the skybox isn't very interesting. It all looks completely the same. There's only one mob that inhabits there. I guess two now with the shulkers. But in the regular End Islands, it's just Endermen. There's vast distances between islands, and unless you have ender pearls or an elytra, it's really not fun to explore. You need a lot of blocks. The end stone itself takes ages to mine, so to build a bridge takes forever. It's just, everything about it is just bland, and I think they're struggling to come up with ways of really making it interesting. I know I would, because it is what it is. The entire thing needs a complete rethink. In so much to say that I'd keep the dragon, because I think that's interesting, although it could be a lot more interesting, and everything else needs to go, right? I would keep shulkers and enderman, obviously, but like the dimension itself, it all needs to go. It needs to completely be rethought, and I'd be looking at a completely different way of dealing with it to really make it interesting. The dragon could be a lot more dynamic than what it is. If you wanted to kind of keep the something like Zen from Black Mesa as a direction to go in. I'm not saying copy that exactly, but like that's kind of the direction I would be wanting to go into. This sort of really interesting, unique alien world that's almost the complete opposite of what the overworld is, but it's still so interesting. You find different creatures there and different structures there, and there's places you could build your house there, and there's a form of stone that you can use to make tools with. You can find other materials, just like you can netherite in the nether. Maybe you could find smaller localized teleporting devices. You've got the shulkers there for the shulker boxes. There's a lot of things that you could go down in that route, but it's designing something that feels like thematically it fits with the game. We saw that in the amount of iterations they did on the Warden before they found something that they felt really belonged to the game. The first concept arts of the Warden, in my opinion, did not fit the game at all. Then they recognized that and they changed it, right? And I feel like this is one of those situations, but we're not talking about a structure underground. We're not talking about a small space that needs filling or a niche that needs filling. We're talking about this entire dimension needs a complete rethink. And that's a big ask. You know, the Nether, even before its overhaul, had some things going for it. It had an interesting structure in the Nether Fortress to build off of. It had soul sand, which could be used in an interesting way. It had netherrack. It had glowstone. It had